I call myself an accidental marketer. So the journey is very unknown, but I think I never planned anything. It just happened to me.
What do you think about the agency life and the brand life? There is always some sort of a struggle. That's always a debate.
I think at agency side, you're just taking care of a set of things. When you are at brand side, you are taking care of pretty much everything. I realized that AI is an enabler. I think a lot of people who are trying to replace it, that's where they're facing problem. New jobs that will happen is AI governance, data interpretation, data science is going to explode.
When I was researching for my book, I came to know that there is a concept called zero UI because in next 10 years, you can expect up to no devices because there is a lot of things that are going to happen through augmented reality. It's going to be a no device environment that we are getting into.
What we can do with traditional influencer marketing, now with creator commerce, you have option to add your products. That's the reason I said creator economy is going to grow massively in next 2-3 years. You'll see that.
Marketing teams are constantly under pressure. What is your major challenge in terms of equipping talent?
The most important thing is to get your basics right. Especially the young generation is too reliant on AI, on ChatGPTs of the world. They don't get their basics right. Whenever I'm hiring, I'm looking for attitude because aptitude can be built. If you have right attitude, if you want to learn, I think nothing in the world that you cannot learn.
In the last few episodes, we have been talking to a lot of marketers, experts in the field of AI. But today we have an interesting personality who shifted the career from the agency side to the brand side, from a copywriter to leading tech brands. I have met this person in a marketing summit recently, and I wanted to host on my podcast and wanted to go deep dive into her perspective towards today's marketing. Welcome to the show, Zivpreet.
Thank you so much. It's been my honor as well. And I would love to add to the perspective that I already have given in the summit, but I'm looking forward to this podcast.
Totally. So your journey from Bareilly to Dubai. So it's very interesting, right? Because a lot of people are right now trying to go global, trying to get into newer markets and explore their career. But you have done it 10, 15 years back, and you wanted to, you have shifted your journey from being a copywriter to now leading a top tech brand. So tell a little bit about your journey. This will inspire a lot of marketers.
I call myself an accidental marketer because I never planned to be a marketer. I'm from commerce background. I did my BCom and then my MBA in finance and marketing. And because I had the opportunity to do dual MBA, that's why I chose finance with marketing, and I loved it a lot.
Okay.
Of course, being from finance background, numbers were my knack. That's the reason, numbers today also excite me, same as what it did in past 20 years. But what really drove me is that I really wanted to do something different in my life. I come from a background, from a business background where we have too many businessmen and not a lot of, I would say, college educated people. So this was something that was new to me. I just wanted to do something out of curiosity, I would say. But it really helped me to move from Bareilly to Jaipur, where I did my MBA, Banastali. It was not a well-renowned college, but I think it helped me to understand what life is, because that really helps any marketer. And a weird habit of mine is that I used to read behind boxes, who's manufacturing, who's marketing, and that used to be the kid in me. So I never realized that I'm a marketer. And I think it took an MBA to realize that marketing is something that I would do for a very long period of time. The reason why I took copywriting is because, to be very honest, that's what I landed in, when I was starting. And I had an option to go into banking because that was my first priority, being a BCom and then MBA finance. But I don't know why I didn't take it. And surprisingly, the first interview I gave was for Capital IQ, some mutual fund company back in 2010-11. And that's the same building that when I eventually went into Dentsu, that was the same building, and we were on 8th floor and they were on 9th floor. I'm like, life is a full circle, right? So the journey is very, very, unknown, for me, but I think I never planned anything. It just happened to me. Similarly, the reason why I'm here in Dubai is because I was just, bidding farewell to one of my colleagues in China.
Okay.
And I was working with Honor India at that time. And I just was saying goodbye. I was moving to Bangalore to head another agency, their South business. And I was like, okay, now I'm done with Honor and I just want to explore something different. And she said that why, okay, I'm not going to brag, but she said, you are a talented person. Why are
Okay.
you leaving Honor? And we want you. So she said, if you're done with India, why don't you move somewhere else? And my question was, okay, where? And she said, Middle East. I said, where in Middle East? She said, Dubai. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I think that's how I landed here, and I didn't plan anything. I think just being there at the right time, right place, and just moving forward. That's it. That's my philosophy in life. Just move forward.
What do you think about the agency life and the brand life? Because that's always a debate, which with when there is, especially the creative people, while they are moving from agency side to brand side, there is always some sort of a struggle. Like, though the life is probably much different and probably lesser stress is what like most of the people say. And one of the major things the copywriter kind of a role misses, that here in agency they get to work with multiple different brands, but once they move, probably their creativity kind of gets like I would say it's inside like one particular brand you have to think your entire thoughts to. So what's your perspective? And a lot of people aspire to move towards brand and vice versa. So what's your thought on this particular?
I think there is obviously no two ways that agency life is very difficult initially, because you're just trying to understand different brands and how things work. But different personalities are suited for different kind of role. I have seen people who are really good at agency work, but when they move towards brand, they do struggle a bit. And not everyone is cut out to be that side, because there the environment is different. It's very, I would say, very, very corporate. Depends on the company also, but at least the companies that I have interacted with, even as when I was in agency, it's always very 9 to 5 driven, and the mindset is okay, you are just delegating the work. And it's important that a lot of people might think that at brand side everyone is just delegating and they are not working themselves, but that's not true. I think at brand level you are doing much more broader work. The horizon is way broader. And my understanding of marketing has expanded and exploded after I've moved towards brand side, because I think at agency side you're just taking care of a set of things. As if, for example, you are in media agency, you are taking care of media spends and advertising, etc. If you're in creative, you're taking care of TVC, how social media is done, etc. But when you are at brand side, you're taking care of pretty much everything. And even if you're doing a specific role in brand side, you are taking care of entire thing, and you are interacting with multiple set of people. So the number of people that I interact with every day, no less than 20 to 60 people some days, where you have to really have understanding of each domain. Like GTM, retail, it's not just you will do your work and that's it, that's done. You are interacting, you are bringing together a lot of people, especially in marketing. A lot of people, because even internally in marketing, even GTM, retail things, okay, what marketing has to do. But in reality, you are bringing together something that is going to be presented in front of the audience, right? And this is the biggest job. If you fail, everyone will blame marketing. But if the product is hit and if the service is doing really good, I think marketing is the last one to get praised. And that's why this debate is always there. But I do feel that you need to understand what suits you more. Because in corporate life you have to be there at 8 and do your work and interact with multiple people. If that's not how you want to envision your career, probably brand side is not for you, because it's very restrictive. It's very I would say very placed out, versus in agency it's more fluid. If tomorrow you think you want to change from this particular role to that particular client and all, it's easy, right? But in brand side, it's not that today I'm doing marketing, tomorrow I'll start doing retail. That won't happen, or at least not happen in such an easy way. So I think it's person's own understanding of their criteria of what they want to have as a career, and basis that they need to decide how they want to build a career.
So, do you think like when you are on the brand side, it is more towards the result, like let's say the impact or the end
Yeah.
end sales focused, whereas in agency it is mostly a particular KPI focused or
Yeah.
it's based on that.
Yes, absolutely. Every brand is working towards business KPI
Yeah.
versus agencies working towards, like, agency job is finished when they are like, okay, I've created a TVC, I have given you the impressions, or I have delivered this kind of CTR, etc. And then they are like, okay, that's what I can do. But when it comes to brand, if anything fails, like for example, there was a campaign that I was doing, and the next day, I got to know that there's another brand who has a better specs. So that just scratched my whole entire marketing campaign, because now I cannot say I'm the best in particular said
Okay.
segment, right?
Okay.
So it means that I have to change everything entire night, and we had to work on it. I
True.
mean, obviously, agency understands a bit of business. Like, there are different agencies. We are working with, say, 4 agencies at given point in time, and they each of them understand a bit of what I'm doing. But there's no one agency who's understanding everything. And even if there is an agency, there are a lot of things that you cannot share externally.
True.
There are a lot of things that you need to make sure that it's within the said people, right? Even there are times that there are information that we don't even give to other people who are not involved in the project, and that happens.
Right.
So in those cases, it is very, very difficult for anyone to rely on agency.
Right.
So I think that's the huge difference that we need to be aware of.
So from the time you started your career till today, because now everything is about data, everybody's talking about data much more than ever before, both in the agency side and in the brand side. So do you still feel that the data is underutilized, and the marketing, the data driven marketing is still underutilized? Like, what do you think about it, and what's your take on data being the core of everything, so at this point, so what do you think about it?
See, when it comes to data, the biggest gap that any brand is facing, they don't know what metrics to track.
Okay.
What are we chasing? And that is the biggest mistake any brand marketer or any performance marketer can do. Because not more in performance marketing, because there the end goal is to sell. But when it comes to brand marketing, we are chasing too many metrics and achieving nothing, or achieving very few. I think when you are setting up your goal initially, like when we are setting up 5-year goal, we are defining what do we need to do in year 1, year 2. And that's how you're tracking. Because if you're trying to achieve everything at one go, possibly you don't have manpower to achieve all of the goals. And eventually, not everything will be done. And it will impact anything that is even doing good. That is a thing that really impacts every business. So I think it's very important for every brand to define what do they want to do. For example, if I'm going to say for travel brand, is it that you're trying to increase the ticket sale, or are you trying to upgrade a lot of premiums that you're adding? And I think here Netflix and those kind of brands have really evolved, because they understood markets like India, where price was the biggest criteria to enter the market, and they realized it a little late, but they eventually reduced the price. They have different pricing for mobile, different pricing for TV, etc. So this is how you need to do. And then they try to improve their content that they're putting in India. So same way, if any brand is trying to enter any new market, they need to know that what are they chasing. Are they really putting forward that they want to make profit, or are they chasing metrics like brand market share? So if they're trying to do everything, like you can't, there are very few brands who have chased market share and have a good profitable company, right? Very few can do it. So it's important that any brand who's trying to bring in data needs to know that what are they trying to chase, basis that they can create those cohorts, that okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to cohort all of the things that I'm trying to do, and create that data warehouse, which can eventually lead to a proper report.
Okay.
Because see, with data, I can present you multitudes of data with nothing to present and with everything to present, because data is interpretation, right?
Right.
A data to you might be different than a data to me. So I think it's in the hand of marketers, especially people who are at management position or who are at decision making positions, to ensure that whoever is handling your data knows that what are your KPIs, what are you trying to chase. Because if you yourself are unsure, eventually you won't be able to achieve any of your KPIs. And this is something that I've seen with other brands. Not the brands that I've worked with, but because I monitor a lot of brands, I've seen with many brands that they are doing too many things. Like you will see some brands that they are sponsoring this, that, and 100 things, but you will see in terms of business result, nothing is coming out of whatever activities that they have been doing. And this is the biggest reason, because not knowing what to track,
Which
how to
data to
track.
track?
And data silos is a big challenge. Even biggest of the brands are having this issue, because the big giants like Meta, Google, they don't want to share data with each other.
Right.
And this is something that every brand needs to face the reality that what do I do? And that is why CDPs are becoming more popular. And
Right.
any brand who is building that customer journey and putting a lot of efforts into creating that build up, that what am I doing across that unified journey, that's the game changer for
Right.
any brand. But very less brands are doing.
Right.
And especially because it involves upgrading the skills of people, upskilling people, and that takes time. And I think everyone wants things instant. That instant that we want things, okay, next day things should happen. That doesn't happen. So whenever I'm doing any project, I'm very clear that this project will take 3 months, 6 months, and I'm very clear that it will take time.
Okay.
I am never giving unrealistic expectations to management or to my team also, because I think when people are in extreme pressure, either they quit or they'll not deliver.
Yeah.
So it's important that way.
Actually, my next question was that like when with advent of AI, and there's so many things happening in the marketing domain, and the marketing teams are constantly under pressure. So how do you manage your team? Because now I'm quite sure you are managing teams across the markets that you are leading, right? So in India or Middle East. So what is your major challenge in terms of equipping talent, and even holding the best talents with you? So what is your learning from your experience? Because now there is so much of updation is happening on a daily basis, that marketers are expected to upgrade faster than ever before, right? So what is something that you look up to in the talents, and how do you make them stick to your team?
Whenever I'm hiring, I'm looking for attitude, because aptitude can be built. I have taught a lot of my team members in the past when I was with Densu, and now also. But the biggest thing I look for is attitude. If you have right attitude, if you want to learn, I think there's nothing in the world that you cannot learn, because many a times right now I am also learning a lot of new things, right? So that is very important, that whenever I'm hiring, that's my first criteria. If the attitude is good, rest of the things can be managed. Then second thing is that if I'm looking for a marketer, a lot of people, what they're trying to do is they are just, rather than upskilling the same set of people, they're trying to replace people, which I
Okay.
don't agree.
Okay.
I think if you have a good team member, and if there is capacity to upgrade them, upskill them, do that. I have been doing this with my team for last 2 years.
Okay.
And we were very much prepared for the AI storm that came in last few months.
Yeah.
And the good part is that we were already doing a lot of things in advance, and we were the first ones to test a lot of things at Honor team. Proudly so, because I have a great team in place. And the biggest thing is that because we are not afraid to fail at things. And whenever we are testing, especially, you'll see these words flying around, A/B testing. But what happens in A/B testing is that people are not doing it in the right way. We are investing a lot of money. We don't know how much to invest when we are doing A/B testing. Is
Okay.
$500 enough for you to A/B test? Is $100 enough? I think that is one thing which, whenever I see A/B test and whenever I see those results that, oh, this is green, this is red, I don't believe in that. First, A/B testing has to be done multiple times before you can conclude that this works or not.
Right.
If you're doing it once or twice, there can be some anomaly. You don't know
Yeah.
why this did well or why that did not do well. So
Right.
whenever we are doing A/B testing, we have defined 5 or 6 tests before we determine that this is working or not. And I think because we have strict SOPs in place, we are very, very confined in what we need to do. We have 20 to 30% flexibility. Otherwise, all of our projects are designed, well prepared, and we don't do anything randomly. We think about it, we think about failures as well. I think many a times we are just thinking, okay, these are the positive KPIs, but what if it fails? What is your backup plan? We have two backup plans. It's not just one. So I think because preparing your team, that has really made them resilient. So
Right.
now, because I told you, if anything happens, even if things are like, okay, 12 a.m. in the night, you're saying this is not going to work tomorrow, I need something new. The team is equipped because they know what to do in crisis.
Right.
So I think preparing your team, telling them that you trust them, that's the biggest thing that you can do to them. And telling them you are going to upskill them. I think most of the team members that I've retained, it's because they know that I'm getting upskilled. And of course, there's an element of finance as well.
Right.
Money is involved. If you are paying them well, if you're keeping them happy, if you are, I will not say be their friend, but be their mentor. Be someone they can rely on in case they do mistakes. Like if my team does mistake, they tell me without fear. They know that, okay, if you have done mistake, what do I need to do? I need to be upfront. And whenever we are doing mistake, it's everyone's mistake. This is a rule that we follow. If it's a mistake, it's everyone's mistake. It's not one person's mistake. And I have clearly told my team, don't do the blame game. It's very important that whenever we are skilling the team, it's important that they should know that this is what they're getting upskilled and this is how their career graph will look like. I think that's the biggest form of retention that you can have in any team that you're trying to build.
Great. So you constantly spoke about upskilling, right? Like you said like you guys have been experimenting a lot of tools. So usually what I've seen is like, especially when we are introducing it to our clients or even within the team, the resistance to change is always there, like because whenever there is something new, because I still remember when I first introduced ChatGPT to my then my ex creative director. So he was very resistant to take it up because he said like no, this will hamper the creativity, this cannot happen and stuff like that. But now cut to 2025, after like 2.5-3 years, I don't think so it is possible to think about creativity without involving tools like Copilot or ChatGPT, because it actually enhances your overall thinking and it gives you 10 ideas in place of one idea. So this resistance to change is something there in individuals as well as teams and larger corporates. So have you come across this kind of resistances? Like how did you convince your team which is junior to you, or even your board or your senior members, whenever you're introducing something new?
Especially with AI, the good part is that because I work with Gen Zs, they were the ones who introduced me to a lot of AI, right?
Okay.
So I think any resistance would have come from me only.
Okay.
But no, I was very much open. The team said that this can make my job easier. It will help me to cut down some hours. I said, great. The biggest problem with any company is thinking that I can replace AI with people. That's the myth, biggest myth. I told my team that you don't have to show me that I'm working for 8 hours, 10 hours. You don't have to do all those math with me. The work has to be done. How you do it, it's not something that I want to get involved with. I trust you. You can do this job by using ChatGPT. Great. I'm happy. I just need this work to be done. And I think that is what I was doing initially. But then I myself started using ChatGPT and other similar AI tools, right? And I realized that AI is an enabler.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are trying to replace it, that's where they're facing problems. If you look at it as an add-on to your current work, I think that makes a huge difference. I have reduced so many hours. For example, I think what we need to understand is that when we are free-minded, we can do a lot of other things. Now, with any free time that I have, with AI getting into things getting done faster, I can think about new things. I have thought about so many new ideas that I can bring in. I worked with, recently, I worked with the customer care team to reduce their working hours by introducing automated chatbots
Amazing.
with their team, right? I think it's about, because when you have more time to think, you can think broader and you can think newer ideas. In terms of creativity, definitely AI is still just, I don't think the ideas from AI is that great. But if you give it like an understanding of what your creative idea is, it can definitely just piece in some good things around it. But I still think that maybe with robotics and with with humanoid bringing in things to the new world, it might change the way that AI is supposedly coming into marketing. Because with agentic AI, a lot of people are thinking that beginners' job might get affected. And it might, because that AI can work 24/7.
True.
That AI can do things that humans also cannot do. That's where you need to, that's why I said you need to upskill. If you are still doing Meta, Google in the same way that it used to happen in 2020 or 2015, that's not going to help you now.
True.
Because all of that work can be done by a machine. So you need to upskill yourself to do things that the machine cannot do. Like a lot of insights that AI is already doing, you need to see that how you can put your expertise into that and make those into insightful, actionable things, rather than just thinking that okay, AI is going to make my insights and that's it, I'll just present it that way. I've seen so many cases where people just copy paste without reading, without thinking, without even understanding what it is. So that is, I think that's the gap. If you are still doing that, with AI reducing your time and workload, if you're still just copy pasting, that's where the gap is.
Yeah. So then you're easily replaceable.
Yes, that's when you are easily replaceable. But if you are someone who's just understanding, and if your basics are right, I think that is a game. AI is a game changer for people who are not relying completely on AI. I saw even a mistake was done by AI
Yes.
when it was calculating, and I was like, if I'm somebody who's just copy pasting without reading, without understanding what the AI interpretation is, then who's the fool? Is it AI or is it me?
Yeah. So it hallucinates a lot. Like the point is how people are enabling themselves by using these tools and moving to the next step. So what is that human skill that you are finding it very important, especially at this point? Like now your teams are using it. Like let's say there are two people, both of them are very good in using these tools. Both of them can bring out same kind of input utilizing the both the tools, for example. So what is that skill that is going to be on top of the things that they are already extracting or enabling from the AI tool? So what is that human skill which you really think matters, especially in the branding and marketing side, according to you?
Interpersonal skills, because that cannot be replaced by AI, right? If somebody from other team is asking for some help, or even if they're not asking help and they are stuck somewhere, and if I am somebody who's using AI and saying that okay, this is how I can help you beyond the measures that I already have,
Right.
I think between the two people, you'll always pick somebody who's people's player, who's trying to help people around them, and who's really adding value to the business. I have seen both set of people. And see, in any business, you need both kind of people, because not everyone can be that enthusiastic to go above and beyond their task and just try to do things beyond those. But still, you need that kind of people who are doing the regular jobs, going on time. And I don't disregard any of them. Everyone has a place in the corporate culture, be it people who are just sticking to their jobs and doing their jobs, and be it to the people who are going above and beyond. And I think that's why they are getting compensated accordingly.
Right.
And I think then those people who are not in those areas, those should not feel bad. That's the
Okay.
only criteria. But in terms of how you're using your AI skill set to build a narrative is also important. I think many a times we are not using AI to its capacity, where we are just okay, if it's insight driven, we are just typing okay, give me insights. But am I writing the right prompt? That's why prompt engineers are getting paid a lot of money, right?
Right.
And I've seen, because I've seen some of the prompts my team is giving. Now I have been teaching them that, okay, this is how you need to give prompts. This is how you can actually get the best results out of, because many times they used to ask me that how did you get the same result with ChatGPT, which I was not able to get. So that is where I think a lot of people need to upskill, is know what prompt to give. That is why initially I said, if you don't know what you're tracking, if you don't know the inputs,
Yeah.
you can never get the output. Input is what is getting output. I think that's where anyone who's working in marketing needs to know what are the new things coming in the market, how the market is evolving. I remember back in 2017, I was talking to somebody who was doing radio, TV, etc. At that time, I was like, why the whenever I'm seeing anything on TV, why the pop-ups are not coming that, okay, I want to buy this. This is the dress I want to buy. And now that's happening.
Yeah.
You must have seen it,
Yeah,
right?
live TV. It's happening.
Yeah. So I think sometimes we think of a lot of things that are now happening, and the technology has taken a turn where a lot of things, new things are happening. And sometimes even with exchanges that I had with publishers, they adopted some of my ideas and have put them into products. So now I'm like, I should have signed some deal and gotten some rebates from them, but that's another story.
Nice. So you have seen it all, right? Like I think in the last 15 years, you have seen the evolution of digital marketing from the way it started,
Yeah.
Meta, and then like the way Google, YouTube ads, and in general, the entire YouTube space. Like I'm quite sure, like with for tech brands, the kind of way how creators play a very important role
Yeah.
in terms of driving it. The entire game of influencer marketing, and now like a lot of I even see brands co-branding with a couple of top creators, and there's so many things happened in the last decade, and now to power up everything, AI is on top of it. So what are the things that are currently working for you now, and what are the things that kind of diminish, like let's say things that has worked for you in the past which is not currently working, and at this point, I mean, beyond, let's say, performance marketing is always there. What are the other things, like in terms of content, in terms of social media? What is really working for a tech brand at this point, according to you?
See, the problem is everyone wants viral marketing. That's the
Word.
way how everyone is working. But I think the most important thing is that PR has changed a lot. There was a time that stories used to come out, but now everything is paid. You have to pay for every story, and anything can be turned into a narrative, as I mentioned earlier. I think that is where I see myself disengaging with such kind of marketing, where
Okay.
for PR, if I have to pay for an article,
Right.
then it just seems like I'm paying news to just publish things,
Right.
which I disagree with, but it is an evil that we have to live with. Then what has changed? You mentioned performance marketing. Now with AI, everyone knows the hack of it, right? So there's nothing new a performance marketing can really add to, until unless they come with such a solid background and they are very, very nuanced in terms of delivering results. But other than that, a lot of performance marketers are going to face a big challenge in next few years, because with AI making all the campaigns and
Everything is being automated. I heard Meta is completely going to be
yeah,
automated.
completely automated. So now what will they do? And I think this is the biggest question that every performance marketer has to ask themselves, that what am I going to do if that happens? And that will happen. And I think that is what the new age has to prepare themselves for. Probably, especially for entry marketing positions and mid-level, because they are the ones who are just funneling a lot of things. I think they need to rethink about what they will do once all of these things get automated. I give next 3 to 5 years, a lot of things will get automated, because see, not every company is enabled to do all these things in terms of automation, right? The adoption is slow, but when it happens, it will be rampant. It will be everywhere. In next 3 years, you will see every brand doing it. So I think that is where performance marketing and PR has taken the biggest hit. And this is the reason creator commerce is coming forward, because those are real people, or so-called real people, who are giving their opinions, or with AI also being part of it, right? We are creating those kind of image for the brand that, okay, this is what the brand stands for. This is, and we can talk more with creator commerce compared
Right.
to what we can do with traditional influencer marketing. Now with creator commerce, you have option to add your products, relevant products in any of the stories, any of the YouTube videos, everywhere, right? And that's a big game changer. I think every brand is now there to adapt that, and whoever is not doing it is, I think, making a big mistake, because there was a time that influencer marketing was 5% or 10% of your marketing budget, but going forward it will be 20-30%, maybe more. And that is where, if the brand are not understanding what kind of creators to work with, not just big names, but people who really matter, people who
Right.
are really the users of your product and
Right.
can create that influence in the market, those are the people you need to onboard. I think this is somewhere we are working on, is to create that commerce where we have those set of people. We know, we have defined that, okay, these are the people who are actually creating the impact in the market. Especially with technology, it's changing so fast, right? To let people understand the technology now, there used to be a time it used to take people time to understand technology, but now everyone knows about what is AMD, what is different companies. I don't think so we need to teach people. I think we have so much of information lying around that you don't need, any brand don't need to just create that information. I think what they need to start doing is how to implement it, like
Right.
what the tech is really doing. I believe a lot of things that Google is doing with, with changing of your clothes and colors and whatnot. You can change hair color. That is giving a lot of people power to just change everything about them, right? And I think every brand that is trying to adapt that, or using that technology to have a different approach on what their customers can actually use it for. Like in China, we have that palm technology where you can do the payments. I'm sure other countries will start adapting it pretty quickly. But this is what we need to understand, that any tech brand that's trying to bring technology to the world, it needs to simplify it, because we are showing use cases which are not even real. In our TV ads, we are showing use cases which are not even real. So I think these creators are giving real perspective.
Right.
That's where the difference comes into play. And this is the reason that, spends on PR, on traditional media buying, TV will reduce
Right.
in next few years, because that will not really help a brand to grow. The growth of the brand is how they're using the phygital channel, digital plus offline, and creating that seamless experience for users, be it on WhatsApp, be it on any touch points that the user is having. Because offline touch points are very fragmented. It's very difficult for a person to reach you. Even if you're doing an outdoor, there's no guarantee that the person is looking at the outdoor, because everyone is just focused on the device. And that's why, if you're doing any experiential marketing, it's very important you know the customers. Experiential marketing is something that I feel that will grow in next few years.
Okay.
Yeah, along with creator
Creators.
commerce. Yes.
So, since creator commerce or this influencer marketing plays a very big role at this point, how do you choose your creators? Because that's one of the major challenges for every brand out there, because influencers are not really sticking to one brand. Like the creators are constantly, moving towards brand, or some of the tech creators are almost talking or reviewing every single brand out there. Most of it are paid, like some of it are like organic. So there is no clear guidelines in which how a brand can protect itself, because anyway, so it's a brand side of problem as well, because we work with a lot of brands, and it's a brand does not want the creator to probably endorse other products.
Yeah.
So how do you see it? Like, what, according to you, you said the numbers or the larger creators are not the only one. You said like we want to go with authentic ones as well. So what is that skill, or what is that you look into the creators? Like what kind of profiles you would want to collaborate with more often? So any parameters that you have, what kind of creators? Like maybe you can give it in terms of characteristics, or in terms of deliverables, or in terms of the number of followers. So how do you define your creator?
Tech creators, by default, you have to work with them, right? They are the reviewers. They will deep dive into tech, and you have to really rely on them to distribute your messaging. That what are you trying to promote, or what are you trying to highlight in your product? Because every product has some highlighting point, be it ours or be it anyone else's product. When you're trying to highlight anything, that is where you need to decide. For example, if I'm trying to highlight the fashion and the lifestyle aspect of my product, that's where I'll bring fashion and lifestyle people. If I'm trying to sell it to a mother or youngsters, you need to know who you are selling it to, and that's how you select, because tech is default for our category. We have to work with tech influencers, but other than that, the second niche that you need to pick is according to what you're trying to market, because those are the people who will bring forward your market to other people, right, to the general audience, per se, because tech videos are not watched by everyone. We all have a friend who we rely on. We like, okay, tell me which product to buy.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the difference lies, that you need to educate that person who everyone else relies on, that are you understanding tech properly? And then you need to, in terms of visibility, because the other tech, the other influencers are providing visibility. More visibility means more people are searching about you. If your product is shown in a way which is attractive to people, they will definitely search about you. And I think this is something that we have seen, that if you select the right people, if you are going ahead, and not with people who are just promoting every brand, you have to be really selective when it comes to non-tech partners, because at the end of the day, if they're promoting too many tech products, your product will get lost. Until unless you are the top tier brand, nobody will remember that, okay, this person has promoted this product. So it's important that your KPIs, one of the biggest KPI is to define that what am I going to achieve? Is it that I want to talk to the lifestyle influencer? And similar way, we are attracting other things. We are doing sponsorship with a lifestyle brand, or we are doing a fashion show. So similar kind of activities are combined together to bring in what the final marketing product has to be, right? I think that's where choosing, it's not just the profile, it's also what that profile brings into play. There are a lot of profiles who might have large amount of followers, but are they really real followers? Are they just mocking them, or are they just following them for some fancy outfit? So you need to understand that. As I've seen people who have less followers but have more impact. And to understand the impact, you need to really deep dive into their insights, and that's where the picture comes into, that are you just looking at the followers, or are you also looking at engagement rate? Are you looking what kind of comments are there? I think now the problem is that with bot you can buy comments, right? You can buy likes, but you can't buy sentiments from people, right? The bots cannot be sentimental.
Right.
And when we are analyzing, we are using tools to understand sentiments. That is where the difference is. We are understanding sentiments. We are understanding that this person has more sentimental people who are relating to this person more. And that's why we want to pick that kind of people who are eventually getting that sentiment out of people. That if I'm saying that this phone has unbreakable technology, that person needs to believe as well, because a lot of times people think, okay, this is fake. A lot of things are fake these days. So it's important that when I'm talking about technology, that person has capability to make technology accessible and to make people understand. And there are a lot of people who still don't understand technology, and there's no blame about it. It's just that there are some people who are non-tech people, and that's okay. But it's important that whoever we are picking, that is the spokesperson we are choosing to dilute it down to a level that people understand it.
Right. Want to know a bit more about your cross cultural experience? Like, let's say you are leading Middle East, North Africa, or even in India or Pakistan kind of a market. So, what exactly is the common or the difference in points, and how important is the regional languages currently playing in your marketing? What do you think about, because India again is like a very multicultural space, like here in MENA region also, like you have different languages. So how is the languages are playing an important role in your marketing at this point?
See, in Middle East, definitely Arabic is the primary language that we are using, because of the audiences that we are attracting. And English by default works in every market. But how you're putting that, what faces you're putting behind that advertising matters more. We have a global TVC which runs across market, not just Middle East, but Europe, North America, South America, everywhere. But I think what makes a difference is what do we do with the, that's why selection of creators is impactful, because that's where you can create the difference. You can't create so many TVCs, but you can select the right influencers.
Face, yeah.
You can select right kind of videos. We have our own production videos which we use, and then we have influencers to talk about local references as well. So when we are selecting influencers, even in Middle East or in India, it's always a mixed bag. It's always mix of all different nationalities, or at least people representing those nationalities, because there's so many nationalities, you can't cover all. So it has to be done in a way which, like, we cover the languages which are most spoken, which is, of course, here we have in UAE we have Malayalam also,
Right.
which is spoken a lot, right? So English, Malayalam, Arabic, all those languages needs to be covered. Like, this is like a default setting that any brand who's trying to cover UAE market needs to have. And with Saudi now opening doors, now Saudi is also adapting a lot. And now I feel that Saudi will also have this kind of situation where they have so many nationalities, and Arabic with English and with some other languages might be the go-to place for Saudi as well. So that's important to understand that different cultures might follow different things, but everyone follows one basic thing, value proposition.
Right.
That is the common ground for any product. If you are presenting that value proposition through different ways, of course, because value proposition for an Indian might be very different from an Arab person, right? So the baseline has to be same. What changes, what is just basic fixes needs to be done. How you're presenting that needs to be changed. But other than that, cross-cultural content is a must now, because people relate to it more. It's not that people don't understand English. It's just that we'll relate to more of the content, the people, the faces that we are familiar with, rather than some random stranger that we don't know. I think that's the reason I said creator economy is going to grow massively in next, I think 2-3 years. You'll see that.
You mentioned about your Gen Z team, like probably stepping forward to try out a lot of new things, and you had an opportunity to learn from the Gen Zs, right? Like, but predominantly there is a lot of I would say opinions over the young people who are getting into the workforce, because they are not really suiting the workforce, or they are not very patient enough to get into one skill and sharpen it. Because I get this opinion from a lot of different people I work with, and in general there is a opinion created towards the Gen Zs or the newer people coming into the workforce. So how do you see it, and what is your perspective on it? What are the Gen Zs are very good at, and what are they lacking at this point?
Gen Zs are good at adapting. I feel that they are more open to learn. But what they are missing is focus. Because as you mentioned that they get bored. That, okay, I'm bored. I think what they need to learn is start getting bored. And it's okay to be bored. It's doing repetitive things is a big challenge with Gen Z. And this is something that they need to work on. Because if they don't work on it, they might land up a job, but they can't stick to a job this way. Because see, eventually every job becomes boring. We also feel sometimes, I personally feel that, okay, this is done. I've done it a lot of times. Like if I say I'm done with launches, eventually that's not going to happen. The launches will happen with me or without me, right? But I need to change my perspective. I need to bring something new to it. And that something new cannot be 100% new, because every time doing 100% new requires a lot of time, efforts, planning. It means that the flexibility that I'm going to give myself, or any Gen Z for that matter, has to be between 10, 20, 30%, not more than that. Every time if you're trying to do something new, it will not have the same results, and then you will get frustrated that why am I failing? So it's better for any Gen Z to have a very defined understanding of yourself, that what are your skill set. It takes about 2 to 3 years of time to understand what are you good at. It took me also time, 1 or 2 years of time for me, because that's why I jumped from being a copywriter to account manager, and then to eventually strategy, because I realized that I'm good at it. And it takes time. It take your time. The problem is that if you want to do everything too fast, That is where I would say that's where my disconnect. And I believe my team, the good part about my team is whenever they start getting bored, I tell them, okay, relax, just take a breather. You want to take holidays, if like wherever they need holiday, they should take, but it should come with responsibility. The biggest thing they need to learn is responsibility. If you're given a task, you need to ensure you finish it or you deliver something that's reasonable, rather than just leaving work and say, I'm going to, because I'm feeling bad, or you said something to me, I feel bad and I want to relax and I can't deal with it anymore. That dealing with it doesn't work in real
Right.
life. It means that you are not living a real life, because there will be disappointments, there will be failures. You need to just accept it. And that acceptance will take you to places that you can't even imagine. I have seen that my failures has given me better results that my success has not given me. Because when you fail, there's nowhere but to go up. If I'm just trying to be on a fence, I will always be at the fence. I will
Right.
neither be here nor be there. So I would say just take that plunge. If you want to do something, do that, but do it with responsibility.
Right.
Not just expect. So the expectation has to be back and forth. It cannot be only from one side. Be open to learn, be open to fail, be open to get bored. And I'm sure anyone who's doing it, because it's not that I'm super intelligent and I'm sitting here. If you're consistent, if you know what you're trying to do, you will definitely reach somewhere. If not being the director of the company, or somewhere or the other, you will
You will have
reach,
your
you will
place.
land up. Yeah, for sure.
So this is also on the other side, right? For example, sometimes I also feel that some of the companies are still very rigid and they are not probably adopting to the latest policies, or they are not adapting to the workforce. Like let's say a lot of Gen Zs are coming in. There is resistance in terms of the top management also.
Yeah.
While that is on one side, on the other side again, the if you see the consumers also, the most of the consumers are right now millennials, and the Gen Zs are coming up. They are the next big buyers
Yeah.
across the market, across the categories. They are the ones who are going to buy the actual product, and they are the ones that need to be marketed to. So how do you see this importance of Gen Z in this entire space? Because not just as a workforce, but also as a consumers, because now the marketing narration has to change. The kind of communication and the campaigns that we are forming should actually impact the Gen Z, not the, probably that's where we see a lot of brands experimenting a lot also. So how do you see the marketing communications should be evolving for addressing this changing crowd? Like do you think, like, are they expecting something different, or is there anything that as a marketer you found very different from the crowd that we are already speaking to, let's say the boomers or the millennials? Like, what is the difference do you think it's going to come in the upcoming years?
Marketing to Gen Z is difficult, because every time they have a new hero, the new people that they chase in. So it's important that you be at the right place. I think most of the Gen Z, they don't want too much interaction. That's why they're choosing ChatGPT to answer their questions. Like a millennial like me, I would always ask my friend, okay, what's happening, what's new, any random thing. But for them, they are relying more on these technologies.
Right.
So we need to understand that now a lot of changes will happen. From Google search, it's now to AI search.
Right.
Now the brands need to really optimize that AI search in terms of not just doing traditional SEO, but moving towards more enhanced SEO, where whenever Gen Zs or anyone is asking questions on ChatGPT, it needs to answer in that way. Similarly, I think a lot of times they actually don't want to talk to a person. They are okay with talking to bots, versus boomers, or millennials, they prefer talking to a real person, right? That's the difference. And that's why the technology has to be hybrid. Any brand who's trying to build technology for Gen Z needs to make sure that it's free flowing. and you cannot restrict them to a certain ideas. So if they tomorrow they want to make it okay, I want to talk to a person, that should be an option, right? Or if they want to buy from TikTok or from, and now we have live commerce, etc. Everything is because it's happening because of Gen Z, because
Right.
a traditional boomer or a millennial would never expect that also, but Gen Z's are expecting any and everything under the sun, right?
Right.
So I think that is where any brand who's trying to build a journey for Gen Z needs to do that. Like, we also have started automating a lot of things, and we have seen that younger demographic is interacting more with where the interaction is just automated, or the information is free flowing in a way that, for example, if they're trying to understand a particular technology, I show them the video related to that technology rather than making them talk to a human. Because for them, that is a better way of interaction. So you give options to them. They love options. They don't like to be restricted. So I think that understanding really is making a huge difference to our brand, and I'm sure to many other brands, because I've seen Starbucks also doing it. I've seen Nike also brilliantly using augmented reality to engage with their customers, right? So I think that's where a lot of brands are coming with their ideas. And I would love to see what new things are coming in the market.
Yeah. So that actually you spoke about augmented reality. So that kind of takes me to the next question, where I am very curious to know about what are the new techs that are going to come ahead with, because recently I saw Meta collaborating with Ray-Ban, and they have launched this Meta Ray-Ban glasses, which is no more mobile devices, like where there are a lot of interactions are happening without mobile. So I strongly believe that this evolution is going to go up. And I also, when I was researching for my book, when I wrote I'm writing a book currently, and it is about the future of brands. Like, when I was researching about it, I came to know that there is a concept called zero UI, because in next 10 years you can expect up to no devices, like, because there is a lot of things that are going to happen through augmented reality. People, the way mobile has become like everyone's go to, like last 2 decades, it's going to be a no device environment that we are getting into. So then there is a lot more of difference that we will see from the way today the marketing is happening, right? So I'm curious to know, because you're on the tech side, and you have also worked with brands like Huawei and now with Honor. So I want to know what is coming up for in general in the tech space, and thereby marketing is proportionally it will also change.
I think everyone has seen Iron Man and how he interacts with Jarvis, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Jarvis.
I think that's going to be the reality of the world now.
Okay.
It might take time. We are working on smart homes. We are living in age where we just say an instruction, it's happening, right? And I think it will happen even more, because humanoids, right? It can now deliver a baby. So did anyone think about it? No. And I think movies has really inspired. Movies are inspiring people to build newer techs. So I'm really hoping that kind of environment comes in very soon, the one we saw in Iron Man, because I think that is what it will really make a difference in terms of technology. Now, smartphones going away, I don't see that happening in near future. Maybe another 10 years we can rediscuss this, but at least for now, I don't see them going. I see them evolving for sure. In terms of hardware, in terms of how they look, you can see foldable has taken the world by storm, right?
Totally.
I think 6 years ago, when foldable was introduced by our competitor, I'll not name them, but yes, it just really made the difference to the world, because nobody cared then. But I think now foldable is the tech to go with.
Right.
And everyone is looking forward to the next foldable that's going to launch.
Right.
And happily introducing Honor Magic V5, which is the slimmest foldable that we have just launched recently. It's a beautiful tech. Nobody could imagine that we can have hundreds of hinges and produce something so beautiful, right? And using that kind of tech makes you think, what's next? I think that is the biggest thing. There was a time that we used to keep our phones for like 4 years, 5 years, but now with the reports that we are getting, 12 to 18 months is when we are changing our devices. So I think the way people are perceiving technology, the way people are purchasing technology is also very different from compared to, especially with Gen Z. They want to change the device
Yeah.
very quickly. And I am surprised myself that they are okay to take a loss on selling a device. Like a person like me, I would never do that. I'm like, why should I sell something in loss, right? Or something which is still working. That's
Right.
our mindset. But
Right.
with Gen Z, they're like, I want the newer technology. And I think it's very fair, reasonably so, because I feel that technology is really changing their lives around them.
True.
Maybe we are not so advanced to use that kind of tech, but they are habitual. They are born in technology. We
True.
are not born in technology. So for us, it might be just an enhancement, but for them, that's life. That's the way of life, right? And I really feel that the new age generation, I saw a 2-year-old actually going on WhatsApp and playing her video, scrolling and playing her video. We can't imagine doing that when we were two.
Right.
So I think we need to see how I feel, as I mentioned earlier, experiential marketing will be the next thing,
yeah.
where people will invest more, because people want to experience your product, not the traditional way, going to a shop and just experiencing the product, but in their daily life, in what they're doing. And if you're able to do that, if you're able to deliver the marketing messaging, especially how Heineken does it a lot. I think they are the ones who really do amazing experiential marketing. And that's, I feel that will be the biggest difference. And of course, you have these phygital experiences where you have digital first, and then you go on any offline experience to just, feel the energies of your product, right? I think that's where the marketing is going to play a big role. And what is changing is from the traditional way that we were looking at things. And as you mentioned, that how AI or how automation has played a role in defining that what do I need to do in marketing, that is also changing a lot, because you have so many touch points that a marketing team has to decide, okay, do I do all? Does it make sense for me to do all? Or do I select what is necessary for me? And that's where a good marketer will not do everything, will try to be selective in the touch points that matter most, and try to optimize those, rather than doing everything and diluting the experience of the user by not giving them 100% on the place that they are at. I think that's where the new age marketing has to be, is not to scatter yourself, but to ensure that wherever you are in the best possible way that your brand can be presented and can be adaptive as well. Many a times you are presented a brand, but you don't understand. Many TVCs you see and you're like, what is it about? And I think that's where marketing needs to understand that you can't do traditional TVCs that you were doing even 5 years ago. A 2022 style TVC will not work now, because now, the way we are consuming information is so different. It's not the same that how we were doing even 5 years ago. So that change is something that I think now every marketer, that is the biggest question. That how do we really choose the creative route that we are taking, or how do we choose the influencers or anything for that matter. So I think that is where the marketing is moving towards, and everyone has to flow in the space and not try to copy each other. Everyone needs to have their own perspective of what works for their brand, rather than just copy pasting. Maybe copying something that is very similar to you might work to an extent, but for example, we can't, even with the same competition, we can't copy them, because something that works for them might not work for me, because I am in a different consumer set. My consumers are thinking way different than the same consumers who are buying the same technology, right? So it's important that to be intuitive and to do things that matter to your audience. For this, you need to learn about consumer insights. That's why I said that data interpretation is the next big thing. I think the new jobs that will happen is governance, AI governance, and your data interpretation, data science is going to explode. I think now also data science is very, very important, but with given time, I think data science and how you're using interpreting data and what you're doing with the data will matter the most, rather than just the traditional marketing that we have been doing for the longest time.
Right. Even the TVs, you said, like even the TVs are going to, uh, even the TV ads are changing, because now every TV is a smart TV, and
Yeah.
programmatically the ads are being placed, and it has to be as personalized as possible. So the traditional TV ads are no more traditional, like, because it has to be more personalized. So this entire space is changing, and you have repeatedly mentioned about this one word, phygital ads, like both physical and digital. So would you like to tell like how the future of marketing would be, just as a conclusion of this entire conversation, because that's where your entire strengths were also, omni-channel marketing. So
Yeah.
tell a bit about how the traditional space is evolving into like a complete omni-channel marketing space. So can you just tell a bit about that?
I think now with, as I said, with digital and physical stores are still important. A lot of people are thinking that, okay, I can be just on digital. They can be digital brands, but still many brands you have seen, jewelries, which Carrot Lane started with digital and now they have stores as well.
Right.
They have realized that they can, to a particular extent, they can be on digital, but after that 10% of market share, everyone has to go offline because the physical presence is still needed.
True.
And especially with a little pricier product and with products that has technology, you need to experience it. Even if you see a video, you don't know what it is really, right? Until unless you experience that Ray-Ban glasses that Meta is building, you can just imagine. You can't really know what's happening. And that is the reason that any brand, including ours, is trying to ensure that we have enough space across both platforms, which is offline and digital. And through that, the journey has to be seamless. Like, I cannot say a very different thing what I'm doing on digital and offline can be totally different. I think that is one mistake a lot of brands do. And the experiences is has to be frictionless, has to be unified. And one of the most important thing is the messaging has to be right. Like, I cannot tell people 10 sentence on an ad, and then when they go on website, I'm telling them the same thing, right? What is the reason for them to click on the on an ad where you are just telling them everything? I think that's where the biggest mistake happens. We don't know what to say in an ad. And I think every marketer needs to invest time into understanding. You mentioned personalization. How to personalize? We use this word and we throw it across, but we don't put efforts into knowing that how to personalize. Is it just that I'm going to say, okay, these are my Gen Z ads, these are my boomer ads? It will not work like that. Every personality is different. The way we are consuming information is different. Like, if I'm going on TikTok, my reason of going is different. If I'm going on YouTube, what am I consuming? What am I really looking at? That matters a lot. And that is why I don't think so we should section people by age groups. It is more of what they are consuming, because what they are consuming is eventually going to make them buy, right? If I'm consuming more fashion and you're showing me the right fashion that I'm related to, that will make a huge difference. That will
Right.
cut down your steps of making me purchase the product.
True.
But if you're showing, for example, if I'm somebody who's wearing salwar suit and you keep showing me some shorts, I'm not going to buy just because you're showing me.
Right.
So I think the concept of visibility is not used in a very right way. We are saying, oh, we are visible, but being visible, is it essential? Are you meaningful? Because if you're not meaningful, you're not reaching out to the right audience, you're just randomly wasting money. And with technology, that is the empowerment that you're getting. You can select and personalize experience for people, and now you can personalize website also, right? And with personalized website, you can create a huge difference. Like, if I'm trying to target a flagship user, and that person opens the website and he sees a budget phone, he'll be like, oh, but this is not the experience I wanted. So I think that is going to be the game changer. And that is what every brand needs to do eventually. Maybe not. So again, it has to be done in phases. You can't do everything together. So decide your phases. Decide, okay, in phase 1, I'm going to achieve these things, personalization or unified journey, or I'm going to add WhatsApp chatbots. and then eventually go on physical stores, make the same experiences on physical stores. Not necessarily that everyone wants the same thing to be told by a promoter. Maybe you can have a space where they can just input information. Okay, I want this, I want to know about what this device is, what do they need to know, rather than putting all the pressure on single or two or three people, because you can't hire 10 people to at a store to tell
Mhm.
people's story. I think that is where the mix of digital and physical stores will make a huge difference. And also that's how you can get the data of people.
Right.
If you know, if you have a selective way of having those surveys at your stores, that is going to be a difference of what they really want to buy. Like a player like Sephora can be benefited because they are selling so many brands, or Sharaf DG because they are selling multiple brands. For a single branded store, that might not be feasible because that involves a lot of cost. But for brands selling, for retail stores selling multiple brands, for them it's something that I would say it's a default. They must have that experience where they are also adding the data. If I know that this person likes this product and this person likes this kind of experience, I will just ensure that this is what they get, rather than telling them stories and wasting time, because nowadays everyone thinks it's a time waste and they just move on. I think the biggest drop off reason of website drop off or physical store drop off is not getting the experience that they expected.
Right.
That's the biggest reason. I think once they are able to do it, any brand is able to do that level of personalization. It will take time, but if you put that brain behind it, if you work with the right partners on the right tools, and or build those tools if you can, then only you can have that unified journey which we spoke about, the
Right.
omni-channel unified journey. Because if you're doing things in silos, like the retail is doing the things differently, marketing is doing things differently, it will not happen. Everyone has to come to a place, sit together, the management needs to sit together and decide that this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to evolve my brand, and these are the KPIs that everyone needs to achieve. And it has to be, see, at a business level, we all need to have similar KPIs. You can't give different KPI to retail, different KPI to marketing. And that's
Mhm.
what many brands do.
True.
Whenever I have seen myself, whenever we're doing, okay, PR, your job is to get these many articles published. What do we do with those articles? Nobody knows. So I think working in silos is biggest mistake. At least in our brand, we don't do that. We all sit together. It's an integrated approach. It's always working as a team rather than just meeting separate KPIs. We
Individually.
mix together our KPIs. We do have separate KPIs. That's
Mhm.
default, but we have some integrated KPIs that can match with all the other teams.
True.
And that's the success story that any brand can have. Any product that has been successful, it's not just because of one team. It is because all the teams came together as one team, as something to give that experience to the customer. Then only a unified journey can come into picture.
Great. I think a couple of other questions also you have answered in this question. So I think you have covered a range of things, but I am taking away two things, right? Like the more of experiential marketing is going to define a lot of things for the brands, and it is going to be one of the advantages for brands. Like let's say that brand that is doing experiential marketing would be probably on the upper side. And second is this unified marketing, which is the omni-channel marketing approach, especially for the brands that are trying to target all the channels, try to be as unified as possible. I think these are the two main takeaways for me personally. Just like this one last question, what are the few things that you think is inevitable for the marketer today, let's say being in the system or a fresher joining into the system in the advent of AI? What are the key skills that you think is going to make them irreplaceable? And I think that would be my conclusion question.
The most important thing is to get your basics right. I think because we are especially the young generation is too reliant on AI, on chat GPTs of the world, they don't get their basics right. It's just that if you don't know 1 plus 1 is 2, or whatever you want to conclude it, you will never be able to challenge AI, or you will never be able to replace AI, because AI is going to take jobs of people who are too reliant on things in front of them,
Mhm.
right? I think that's where any person entering into marketing needs to know that if your basics are right, like understanding of consumer insight, it has some basics that you need to know how they're perceiving information, what they're doing with the information, and how they're really making the purchase journey Nobody's going to feed that information to you. AI can only tell you a bit of it. But if your basics are not right, your interpretations will be wrong. And that's what I've seen. I've seen young people interpreting data wrong. And people who are experts in their field have an in-depth knowledge. Whatever you're doing, if you are picking, say, programmatic, be deep dive into programmatic, because no AI can replace human mind. I think human mind is beautifully made, very adaptive. Many times we used to think that after digital will come, offline will stop, and a lot of people used to think that offline people will lose jobs. But that didn't happen. It evolved.
True.
We evolved into integrated marketing, and I'm sure with AI coming into play, new jobs will open up. I'm seeing it in a way that new jobs will come up. Like I mentioned that
Totally.
that with AI ethics player or AI copywriter, etc. It's reducing your working hours. It's reducing your pressure. So rather than taking AI as a competition, and rather than just saying that, okay, I don't want to learn these things because AI can do it for me, that is where any marketer can go wrong. You still need to learn, because at the end of the day, you are the one inputting the information to AI, and you are the one telling AI what you need as an output.
True.
If you yourself don't know, and if you are just typing, give me a good marketing strategy, do you really think that will happen? It won't.
Not at all, yeah.
I think it's important to have those understanding and clarity of what exactly things are and how they work. Nobody can replace you if you know that, because at the end of the day, decision making still lies on humans. I don't think so we are giving that away to AI anytime soon.
True.
So if you are somebody who knows how to take that decision, and that will only happen if you know your subject. If you become the SMEs, I don't think so AI can replace you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm quite sure that our viewers would have got like a wide range of perspective of today's marketing, especially from the tech domain. Like, you have given a lot of examples as well. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
And I
welcome.
would love to have more such conversation in the future as well.
Look forward. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.